Respected viewers, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ali Abbas Rajan and welcome to IBN TV's brand new series called The Hotspot. In this show, we aim to understand the extent to which Muslims around the world have been affected by the various issues our world is facing today. We hope to provide you with an insight into what our brothers and sisters face individually as well as a community, and also hope to come up with ways into which they can tackle any obstacles abroad. As we have approached the month of Ramadan, it seems logical to focus on a topic that may require adapting or reforming. That is why, for this month, we wish to turn our attention towards Islamophobia in the West. Islamophobia is a term that is defined as hatred or fear of Muslims because of their politics or culture. Throughout the majority of the developed countries, we are all entitled to privately practice our own faith or religion. However, faiths such as Islam have been experiencing strong prejudice from around the world, and this is gradually becoming a major problem in our society today, particularly in the past 15 years. Media, literature, and acts of Islamic extremism have all contributed to this problem. Hence, it is important for us all, as ambassadors of our faith, to be able to protect the true image of Islam when living in the West. On the 8th of July of 2012, a well-known journalist named Mehdi Hassan wrote in an article from The Guardian UK the following, I quote, "Have you ever been called an Islamist? How about a jihadist or a terrorist? Extremist maybe. Welcome to my world. It's pretty depressing. Every morning I take a deep breath and then go online to discover what new insult or smear has been thrown in my direction. Whether it's tweets, blog posts, or comment threads, the abuse is as relentless as it is vicious. You might think I'd have become used to it by now. Well, I haven't. When I started writing for a living, I never imagined I'd be the victim of such personal, such Islamophobic attacks on a near daily basis." Unquote. Mehdi suggests that in the UK there exists a strong Islamophobic presence while he practices his profession as a journalist. And so tonight we have invited selected students studying in the UK onto the hot seat to shed some light on this issue and also gain an insight of the Islamophobia students may experience while at university. Can you please introduce yourself and tell us what you're studying at university?
I am Sarah Somji, currently finished my second year doing biomedical science at Cardiff University.
Okay, my name is Malika Derji and I go to Aston University. I'm going to be in my final year now and I'm studying accounting for management.
My name is Shabir Ali Hasnain Musa. I'm currently studying Association of Chartered Certified Accountants, that is ACCA, at Kaplan Financial, Birmingham campus.
I'm Gulshan Barani, I'm 19 and I study Law with Management and Arabic at Aston University in Birmingham.
My name is Mohammad Jawad Qasam. I'm currently studying in London, Brunel University, pursuing business marketing, business management and specialised in marketing. Going for my final year and inshallah graduate with a bachelor's degree.
What brought you to this university?
I was initially supposed to go to Canada, Waterloo, and then like a few weeks before leaving I decided to change and go to Aston, and the only reason being because I was told that there are more Muslims there and there's a bigger community, and I thought I'll find it better there.
So you mentioned more Muslims. Is there an Islamic presence, a strong Islamic presence at Aston University?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a really large population of Muslims, and the mosque is close by, and I just thought that it'll be easier.
So relatively convenient for Muslims.
Yeah.
What kind of Islamic presence is there at your university in the UK in general? Have you involved yourself in any of these like Islamic societies or organizations? Do they exist there?
Well, at my university we have like about 3 Islamic societies. So we have Ahlul Bayt Society, we have Islamic Society, and we have Dawat al-Khanza Society. And they're all like different schools of Islam. And so I'm part of the Ahlul Bayt Society. In my first year I was a secretary, and in my second year I was the head of women's sports.
Basically, when I was looking for universities, I saw that Cardiff is one of the top 10 universities in the UK, and it carries out a lot of research, which is one of the most important things in my field. So I decided to choose Cardiff University.
Is there any Islamic presence at Cardiff University?
There is a huge Sunni community at Cardiff University, a lot of mosques around there, but there isn't a big community for our Shia community. So not a very big Khoja mosque either. So.
Okay, but there's a good Muslim population all around.
A very good Muslim. Even I was surprised to see the good Muslim population around me.
Okay. What kind of Islamic presence is there at your university specifically in terms of societies and organizations?
We have an Islamic society and an Ahlul Bayt society. Generally, there is not a lot of Islamic organizations and Islamic activities happening in the community. But as a member of Ahlul Bayt society, we try doing a few activities that would encourage more people to come join us and raise awareness about the Islamic activities that we could do. But there isn't a lot happening there.
Yeah, so lack of activity is what you're trying to say. Do you take part in this was it Ahlul Bayt society? What is your role?
I would say I'm an active member in the Ahlul Bayt society, yes. I try attending all the dua kumails that they plan every Thursday. I try attending most of the programs that they do.
Aston University is in the heart of Birmingham. It is a renowned university in the UK, but also has a very good Muslim community. And I spoke to many students from Tanzania who studied at Aston, and they expressed how amazing their experience was. We have the Islamic societies, we have the Ahlul Bayt Islamic societies.
Any other organizations?
Like Islamic organizations?
Yeah.
Not at university, we just have these two for at the moment.
Ahlul Bayt society?
Yeah, Ahlul Bayt society. Alhamdulillah, I got the opportunity to become the president of the Ahlul Bayt society for the upcoming year, so starting October. So during the summer I have to plan events, and we've planned Islamic events, social events, sports tournaments, just to attract Muslims and non-Muslims within the community. And our main aim is to spread the true message of Islam, especially after all this happening in the UK.
What brought you to this, is it college?
Yeah, it's a college basically, which offers professional qualification. The history of this college basically, because so many of our coaches have been there, have completed ACCA very smoothly and successfully. And also, the teachers are really, really good over there. And secondly is that the experience of the tutors over there. They've been like 50 years experience of the tutors, so they know what's going on. And if you go and see also on a spiritual level, there's a prayer room there, there's a wazoo room there, so everything is set over there. So there's no need to need to go outside and pray and look for a mosque.
So there's a good Islamic
environment.
Good Islamic,
yeah,
okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Is there any societies or organizations or Islamic organizations?
No, there's no organizations in Kaplan Financial.
Okay, but they do provide you with services or facilities.
They give us services, and they give us our freedom to do, for example, if you're going to pray, you can pray. Also, the teachers have been told on Friday, as regards to on the Friday prayers, you need to have Friday prayers over there, so they have timings for that also.
I think what brought me to the university, it was one of the top 10 universities in England during that time. I hope it is still there. And the fact that a lot of what I saw there wasn't a pulling factor, but maybe because of the number of people that have been there from various societies. A lot of Tanzanians have been there. So yeah, it was one of my choices. Oh yeah, and Usain Bolt used to train there. So yeah, that pulled me as well.
Excellent. Is there any Islamic presence at your university?
Yes, the presence of Islam is it's massive, and we have a lot of values there. We've been respected a lot. We have our own namaz room. We do have our own wudu area, our own facilities, whatever we want. Alhamdulillah, we've never had any issues with that.
Are you involved in any of the Islamic societies or organizations?
Well, not with the Islamic Society, but I was involved with the Palestinian Society, not much with the Islamic Society. But I used to go and pray then, probably just meet them up, but not really, nothing serious.
So while studying in the UK for the past, how many was it, 3 years?
Yeah.
Have you experienced any fear or hatred towards Muslims? Anything at all around UK or within your university?
Well, not so much within my university, because like I said, there are loads of Muslims, so it's difficult, so they're quite, they know about Islam and they tolerate a lot of Muslims. You see lots of hijabis and you don't feel uncomfortable. But there is you do face a bit of hatred. Like for example, while we were, this Muharram, we had the Who is Hussein campaign, and I was part of it. And I know while giving out bottles of water, I felt lots of hatred. Other Muslims would come up to me and would be wanted to pick a fight, or you know, they just wouldn't take the bottles from us. And
Other Muslims wanted to pick a fight with you.
yeah, like I guess the extreme Muslims, like they would like, you know, try and start a debate with us. And
So you're trying to say that there exists some extremist activity at Aston?
yeah, definitely. Like they take down our posters. They, you know, try and stop people from attending our events. You know, they try to shut us down a few times.
Yeah, we experienced similar things in City University as well. Have you experienced any fear or hatred of Muslims?
Personally, I haven't. I believe, from what I see, that Cardiff is it has a very tolerant population. And generally, from what I've heard, Welsh people are the nicest people in the UK.
Welsh people are the nicest people in the UK.
Yeah, so they have been really nice to me. But I've heard a few incidents where after the Boston bombings, one of my friends was called a Muslim terrorist. And at the gym, people have said a few things to a few of my friends. But personally, I haven't experienced everything. One of my friends was walking back home and she was termed as a Muslim terrorist. Just someone randomly came up and screamed at her. And she couldn't do anything because she was alone and she just walked away. Nothing physical, she was just it was verbal abuse.
Verbal abuse.
Yeah.
There was an incident which the old man was stabbed in Birmingham.
This is parallel on the same time around Woolwich.
Same town regarding the Woolwich attack. And also, if you go and see, before the Woolwich attack, there was this incident regarding the City University in London, where their prayer room was closed. This was one of the things which I really felt bad, you know, like why is this going on over there?
Okay, you mentioned City University and prayer room.
Yeah.
The prayer room at City University was closed based on the fact that in the past there had been a lack of appropriateness in the sermons given by a particular Muslim group. The sermons this was 3 years ago, that they used this evidence to judge closing the prayer room now. A sermon from 3 years ago said, a speaker was recorded saying, the Islamic State teaches to cut the hand of a thief. Yes, it does, and also teaches us to stone the adulterer. When they tell us that, the Islamic State tells us and teaches us to kill the apostate. Yes, it does. So a university would naturally oppose such statements in a prayer room or wherever, because it goes against university values, which, you know, promotes multiculturalism. It's supposed to be open-minded. And you know, Muslims, regardless of their beliefs, shouldn't be teaching such statements in a university.
That's really bad to go and see.
Tell us about the Woolwich incident. How did this unfold in your university, and how did your university or students in your university react? Was there positive reaction or negative reaction?
Well, the Woolwich incident was an attack that happened on the 22nd of May, and it was, you know, a murder. It was a murder of a British soldier, and the people murdered him claimed to be Muslims.
Within my university, the non-community members that I associate with and my friends were all they didn't tell me anything bad. They were supporting me, in fact. When the media and everything was blaming it on Muslims in general, all the people I knew were telling me that we understand that it's not the Muslims' fault. We understand that this is the person as an individual. And so, according to the people I associate with in university, I believe no one had a negative impact from the incident.
So your social circle was definitely understood the situation as a one-off Islamic extremism act?
Yes.
Okay.
As a Muslim body, like Muslim student body, we couldn't address the situation as much because we all had exams. But you find three kinds of groups at university. There is a group of non-Muslims who are quiet, others who blame Muslims for what happened, and others who actually make it clear that Muslims are not, whatever happened, Muslims are not to be blamed. But you see, there comes a point in the West, like in the UK, where you meet individuals who are open-minded and who are educated, and they know that all these things do not reflect true Islam. They know that these are just two individuals who did this, and they do not represent the whole community.
So because of the multicultural environment in your university and, you know, the fact that everyone's quite well educated, you don't think there's a real problem within your university?
No, we actually didn't face anything, alhamdulillah, in our university.
I wasn't there. I was already in my holidays when it happened. I was following the news and everything, and the Brunel Society had a statement saying, condolences to the family of the deceased and everything, but there wasn't any brutal attack towards Muslims. But of course, on the other hand, on the other societies, I don't know what really happened. It was very extreme and a lot of attacks.
You're saying that there was mainly positive reaction from your university in terms of your social circle?
Yes, yeah. In terms of university as general, you can say that.
Okay, in
Because
university
I've
in general.
experienced nothing wrong
Nothing
from my
negative.
university.
Okay. And what about around you? There was negative?
Yes.
But positive?
Positive in the sense that they were affected by the incident.
Positive in the sense that was there anything that they did to try to help the image of Muslims after the incident?
Non-Muslims helping the image of Muslims? I
Yeah.
don't think they did anything to help us.
So coming back to the public, the general reaction from the public in UK, what was it? Can you clarify what exactly was the general reaction, and was there any Islamophobic behavior?
I believe there was Islamophobic behavior. Generally, before the incident, I think there was a very slight Islamophobic behavior in UK. It is present, but it's not that obvious because there is a good number of Muslims in the UK generally, and I think this incident uprose all the people who had doubts about Muslims, and so we have way more people who are Islamophobic at the moment after the incident.
So after learning about all these incidents post-Woolwich and all this Islamophobic behavior taking place, do you feel that Britain is a safe place for Muslims? Does it welcome them?
Well, if I give you my personal experience, I would say it welcomed me really well. I was happy in the UK for the past 2 years. After the incident, I would like to say that maybe we need to clarify our position as Muslims, but it's a multicultural place, so I'm sure it's going to be tolerant towards Muslims, and I don't think this incident should hold us back from going back there, because we don't want to hold ourselves back just because of one incident and allow people to tell us that you don't want to clarify yourself and just overgeneralize that all Muslims are the same. So instead of staying back and not going to the area, we should go there and clarify that not all Muslims are like that. This is not what the Quran says, and we hold a stand, and that way I believe everyone's going to be tolerant towards Muslims, more tolerant.
I know there was lots of anti-Islamic behavior around like Birmingham, like the city and stuff. Like I was told to be cautious while walking into town and not go alone and late at night and stuff.
So there was a sudden Muslims, they felt vulnerable, or who exactly are you referring to?
Well, I know I read this article that said that after this attack there were several Islamophobic attacks. For example, according to the director of the Faith Matters charity, his name is Fayaz Mughal, an official number of 163 Islamophobic attacks were recorded since the Woolwich attack. So this is between 25th May to 28th. And he said that usually it was about 2 a day.
Okay, so this is around UK in general,
Yeah.
not within your university.
Yeah, around UK, because, yeah.
And this is all negative reaction you received. Was there any positive reaction at all?
Well, I know there was, I read somewhere that said the only positive outcome of this was that like it formed a sense of community between Muslims.
So it brought unity between the communities in UK in general?
Yeah, like I know there was, I saw this video on YouTube at this Sikh guy who was part of the army, and he was like defending Muslims and talking about extremism. And then I know there was the Council of European Jamaat had an open house community meeting to discuss the incident, and they invited the public to come in and like talk about it, and just showing that what our mosques are for. And
again, I think the public reaction was mixed. There was people from both sides of the fence. So whereas where Muslims were discriminated against and mosques were burned, many realized the truth, and there was also the Jewish community that offered help in mosques in North London.
Okay.
So I think it was both.
So after learning about all of this, the Islamophobic presence in Britain, do you feel safe as a Muslim? Does it, trigger any vulnerability in you, or do Do you feel that there's a lack of safety now?
Personally, I don't think so. Not where I live, because I'm surrounded by Muslims, and my university, there is a majority of Muslims where I live, so I don't really feel unsafe.
Well, I heard of the Edgware Road where, three women were snatched of their scarves and they were attacked. That's the most I've heard. And then I heard the Milton Keynes Mosque was, there was a bomb or something like that, an explosive, a water explosive kind of thing, which Alhamdulillah was put off by one of these community members who was actually waiting for his wife out there.
And so, in general, how did Muslims react following this incident? Majority of Muslims we're talking here.
Things that we fail to realize is not everyone has to go out in public and protest about what happened. Some of them do it through various means, and social media is one of the most powerful means. And everywhere around social media, there were these reports condemning the brutal attack on the soldier, and that it wasn't part of Islam, it was part of extremism. And I do remember a petition kind of thing going on, and some people trying to show the true image of Islam. In fact, there was one of these guys who posted a video on YouTube, and he wrote, "Meet a Muslim," holding a post saying, "Come meet a Muslim," and people will actually go up to him and shake his hand and say, "Oh, nice to meet you," and he will portray the true image
So
of what Islam
basically,
is about.
attract the people to come
Exactly,
and talk to him
and
to find out who he is.
Yes, and show that, look, what you guys have been taught about what Islam is and what it is actually is two different things totally.
I think this went on Facebook viral as well. I saw this video being shared around, but it's an interesting way. You wouldn't think that putting a sign that says "Meet a Muslim" would actually, provoke
Attract a lot of
attention
people, yeah.
towards you. But it was an interesting, creative way to.
Yeah, but you see that's what we need to realize is that you don't. I mean, Islam is not a physical or a violent religion.
It's friendly.
Yes, it's very friendly, and we need to stop going out in protest and demanding for justice and this and that. Let's do it the other way. Let's do it the way the Prophet did. The Prophet used to have dialogues. The Prophet used to spread love, friendship, unity, and probably that's the way we could actually win over them. I mean, like when the Prophet Muhammad's cartoons were, the Prophet's cartoons or the Prophet's movie was released. Okay, what was the first thing that most of the people did? They just started, slamming down embassies, killing people. You don't do that.
Take a more positive approach.
Yeah, you take a more positive approach. I mean, when people started throwing stones at the Prophet, he didn't pick up a stone and, you say, "Oh, you threw my stone and I'll throw your stone." Instead, what he did was, okay, take the stone, show them love, show them that, look, I am I am a human being similar to you, but, I will show you love when you show me hatred, and, eventually you'll come back to me, and that's what exactly happened.
From what I hear, we were just all told to be careful and not walk late, and we were just told to be careful and safe. But as a Muslim community from Cardiff, I don't think they carried out any extra events to clarify our position.
I think the Muslims there was a very strong and collective approach from the Muslims, because even on social networking websites, I read Muslim statuses by Muslims offering condolences to the individual, and also they joined groups that was dedicated to the individual. Centers organized emergency meetings, like there were clips from Sheikh Panju and Sayyid Ammar in the Haider Islamic Center in South London. Yeah.
And what was the role of these cinemas? What exactly was discussed?
To spread the true message of Islam. Like there was, they showed how these acts, these atrocious crimes do not represent us as a community. They were just two individuals and not really Muslims.
Particular.
If you go and see, according in Birmingham it was fine. Nobody, the Muslims were together. They became one. They didn't, they fight among themselves.
Divide differences.
Yeah, okay. But they didn't, fight among themselves, and they played the blame game. They were together. Nothing happened. It was smooth. There was nothing going on mostly. But one thing I really liked about was the York Mosque. The York Mosque offered tea and biscuit to the idiot protesters.
To those anti-Islam.
Exactly, the anti-Islamic group which came to protest outside the York Mosque, and the York Mosque people offered them tea, biscuits, and they played soccer with them. That was one thing which really amazed me, and I think also my friends when they heard about this. It was an amazing thing which they did.
So, what do you think caused all of this Islamophobic behavior in London and UK and places around? Do you think there's a specific source? Can you identify that, or are there a variety of things in general?
I think it's like everything that's happened from like 9/11 to all the suicide bombers, the Boston bombings. It's just everything put together that portrays a negative image on Islam, and it's just the extremists, obviously, that want to
Involve themselves in such activities.
and make Islam look negative. And I also think it's the media, with the aid of mass media. I think they're like targeting Muslims, and obviously they use this, like they use all this, take advantage of situations and make it look like it's the Muslims' fault.
So the media basically complements all of these acts of extremism rather than condemning it and pushing it to the side or showing the true image of Muslims. They're promoting, basically giving the spotlight to extremism.
Yeah, and I think they just inflate the situation more sometimes.
I think it's 50% of the time it's individuals, because in every religion there is a few individuals who are like the problematic ones, the outcasts, the outliers. And we'll always get these kind of individuals everywhere. But the other 50% of the time, I think it's the extremism. Some people who take Islam to a different level and claim to say that we should kill everyone who tortures the Muslims, or the solution to all our problems is killing people. So I think this extremism is the cause of Islamophobia, because instead of taking the general Islamic rules, people are just targeting the main wrong things that people portray. Also, I think it's to some extent the general Muslim population's fault, because we are not very open to our beliefs. I think we should go out and maybe create seminars for the non-Muslims and create awareness of what exactly Islam is, instead of them picking what they want to see and then blaming it on us. So I think it works both ways.
So you can say that it's actually our fault for not engaging in more activities with
Partly.
regards to Cardiff, obviously.
Yes, partly.
Partly.
Yeah.
I think the media, rather than saying, or rather than portraying the two individuals as two murderers, they were branded as Islamic terrorists. So the public, rather than blaming the individuals, blames the religion as a whole. Also, Anjem Chaudhry is a perfect example of this. He was given platform by the media to speak, and he represented Islam with his as a barbaric religion that preaches and encourages crimes. And rather than giving someone else who could represent Islam properly or in the right way, they gave Anjem Chaudhry the platform.
So it seems that this extremist belief is slowly feeding into university. What do you think is influencing this extremist behavior? And do you see the university being Islamophobic by closing the prayer room, or do they have a right to?
If you go and see, they have, first of all, regarding the things which influence the people. This guy called Anjem Chaudhry right now, which has become very famous, which regarding his Wahhabism thought and his Sharia law. Anjem Chaudhry wanted to, he wanted to imply Sharia law in England, which was wrong, because they have Sharia law in the court of England. They have Islamic finance also. So many banks provide Islamic finance for Muslims. So they have every aspect. They're trying their level best to help the Muslims in every way. Because the majority of Muslims in Birmingham, if you go and see right now, there are too many Muslims in Birmingham, there are too many in London also. So the government is trying to do the level best, if you go and see, in one way. In second way, there are some people, if you go and see some sects in the religion, some people are really, really extremist, and some are really polite. Not all of them are really bad. So there are some people, this group of people who are against the Muslims. So that's one thing also, but people which influence these people, these extremists, and these people should be like, not there in the joining society.
So overall, based on your experience and post-Woolwich,
Yeah.
do you feel that Islamophobia exists in your country? Is it an issue at universities?
I think it definitely does exist in almost like Western countries, but I don't think it's so much of a problem at my university. being like having lots of Muslims, but you do see a lot of like segregation between like different religions. For example, we have this like Aston Spotted page, and someone put a picture of like a hijabi in like full niqab and everything, and then they wrote beware Astoners, there's a Death Eater in town. And like obviously some people found that really offensive because they're like disrespecting Muslim women and making fun of what they wear. And the whole Woolwich incident, there's lots of controversy towards it, of it being true and being like not being true. For example, some people are like it wasn't true and it was just
framed.
Yeah, exactly. They were like the media put this all together just as another excuse to target Muslims.
So based on your experiences, do you feel that Islamophobia exists in your country in general?
I would say slightly.
Slightly?
Yeah. Not to the extent that it would affect an individual's life, but there is slight Islamophobia.
Regardless of the constant newspapers we see kind of relating Muslims to terrorism, over one incident that occurred in Woolwich, which we've seen parallel incidents occur to Muslims in places like Birmingham, you don't think that there's a strong Islamophobic presence yet?
Maybe it's increasing over the years, I would say that. Well, especially after these kind of incidents.
Definitely.
But generally, I would say in Cardiff, I don't think it has affected people, but I think it doesn't affect an individual's life, maybe because I as a person am more open to explaining people what the situation is about.
So you're more tolerant?
Maybe. I'm not sure because I've seen my friends suffer, like someone who goes to the gym has been told foul words after the Woolwich incident. Someone who drives a car has been spat at. Someone who walks home has been called a terrorist. I would say to some extent it has affected them. It has affected us as a Muslim population. But maybe because I'm more tolerant, I believe that we should just take it in, and instead of saying that, oh, we're being looked at in a bad way, we should say, oh, I think you people haven't got the right idea of what Muslims are.
Excellent. So we should basically fight back.
Yes.
And counter, obviously by explaining the true meaning and identity of us.
Yeah.
I think Islamophobia is a global issue rather than just in the UK. So we can try and tackle it by educating people, or with our akhlaqs and values, show people what really Islam is, the real Islam, rather than giving them a chance to judge us on two individuals or what they did. Also, I think Islamophobia is not present visibly in universities. However, you're likely to experience individuals, some Islamophobic individuals.
If you go and see in Birmingham, I don't see any problem over there. In
Birmingham,
especially.
Dar es Salaam number
yeah,
2.
Exactly. Like so many of Khojas are there. Khoja community is really, is really good over there.
What about outside the Khoja community?
Yeah, that's the thing. Because see, there's some areas where where you can't, you can't go over there. Now, Islamophobic in the sense like some people, brainwash other people.
So in this community, you don't really get that.
Exactly, they don't get that things over there, and the boys over there themselves, they're together with themselves. So there is no any sort of things which harm the boys, any Muslim boys who study over there. That's the thing I feel. It's there.
Okay. Has this Islamophobic presence caused you to face any obstacles as a result? You talked a lot about how you've, engaged in more conversation and discussion with people to portray the true image. So you've done a lot of things on your side, but have you struggled to do anything after these Woolwich incident, Boston bombings? Are there any obstacles you face, perhaps in terms of employment or anything as such?
To be honest, after the incident, I was scared to go out for a day. So just to be safe, I stayed home for a day, decided not to go out for a day or two, in fact. And then when I went out, just because I wear the headscarf and stuff, I thought I'd be safe. But when I went out, everything was all right. So personally, I faced no obstacles, but I decided to play safe, just in case.
No.
No.
Till now, I haven't.
It's been
faced
very
anything.
quiet.
It's been very quiet. Yeah.
Okay.
But because people know that, I think some people, realize that aspect that, Muslims are very good people. If you go and see, I think Nick Clegg, the Deputy Prime Minister, he quoted a verse from the Holy Quran. regarding this incident, and he was really amazed when he saw when he said that, and people were really amazed that he said that. Also Boris Johnson, the mayor.
Why did Nick Clegg quote this?
Because the thing was that people asked him questions regarding this, what's going on, and he said that the Muslim, the Islamic religion is not like that. It's a very good religion, and the verse is
that. Oh, yeah, you have the verse.
Yeah, the verse which he quoted was verse 32, chapter 5 of the Holy Quran, which says that if anyone slays a human being, it shall be though he killed all mankind, whereas if anyone saves a life, it shall be as though he saved the whole of mankind. He said that in what
probably moved a lot of people.
Exactly. Some people were amazed when he said that.
Okay. So it definitely shows that.
And so many politicians also. I think the PM, the mayor of England, all of them, the mayor of London, all of them came to the communities and they talked to the communities regarding that. They said that like we should sit down and don't be afraid. We'll do to our best to provide you securities with these things which are going on. So I think people really cared about Muslims this time. They didn't show a negative aspect in any manner.
So it's basically the big characters in the country.
They played their role. Yeah, they understand.
And they
played their role in providing services to the people, to the Muslim people.
What would you say was the media's part in this whole situation? Did they overblow the situation?
I don't think they really overblew the situation as such. However, how they talked about the incident was the real issue. The murderers who committed the vile acts were branded as Islamic terrorists rather than just individuals acting on their own accord who were lost as Muslims, but even human beings. So the media constantly relate Islam and terrorism, and they play a huge part in Islamophobia.
Yes, I believe they've overblown it big time. Like, there was no need to make it such a big deal or blame it on the Muslims or, for that matter, overgeneralize this incident to all Muslim events or Muslim beliefs or stuff like that.
Okay. So let's talk about how we can sort of fix this situation, how we can, as a community, as Muslims, as an ummah together, provide a solution for this situation. Given the incidents you gave about the Birmingham incidents and the lack of safety Muslims feel, can you share with us what you have done in the past and what you reckon should be done in the future in order to help the true image of Islam stay there and portray Islam as a positive religion of peace rather than a religion of hatred and extremism?
Well, I think the best way to help Islam is by promoting awareness on what Islam really is, to counteract the extremist Islam that they're portraying. And for example, the Who is Hussein campaign, that was so successful, went all around the world. So, maybe, having more campaigns like that, talking about the real Islam and just teaching people.
In the past, we've tried, the Who is Hussein campaign, as I mentioned earlier, we tried opening a lecture for the public, for the non-Muslims, and inviting them.
How did that go?
We didn't get a very good response, but we tried. At least we tried.
That's very good. At least you tried.
At least we tried. In the future, I think we should organize more events. Generally, I think in the UK, we should organize, as a Muslim community, more events for the non-Muslims to raise awareness. We can, I don't know if your university carried this out, but the water distribution, the bottle distribution.
Yeah, during the Who is Hussein campaign.
So that we stood right in the middle of the road, just outside the university, and I think that was a good success. Because a lot of people asked us why because it was freezing that day, and we were all shivering when we were giving the bottles, and everyone was like, why are you standing out on such a cold day giving out water? And we explained them, and I think about 80% of the people who took the bottles actually asked why we are giving out the bottles, and they had smiles on their faces. There was someone who came up to us and said, I was dying of thirst, so technically we saved a life.
That's very true. In City University, we got a very similar response. And in fact, every time we gave the bottle out for distribution, it gave us a chance to engage in conversation about Imam Hussein, about his generosity. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that when they saw, the newspapers, a good population must have, been shocked and said, no way, this is absolute rubbish. Muslims are not like this. Yeah. And considering the way I've, been welcomed with water bottles in the past, there's no way that this is true. So I'm pretty sure that would have had a strong impact on the public in general.
I think as a large representatives on earth, we should show others what we really are as Muslims. So I, as a volunteer at Ahl Bayt Society, tried to tackle this issue with my other committee members. Also, because this happened just recently. So for the upcoming year, we want to try and tackle this issue on a larger scale, come together and just come together and stand against injustice.
So you guys have decided as a group to focus on, because it was such a major event, focus on this, showing the true image of Islam within next year.
Next year, yeah.
That's a very good idea.
Not only this, but so many other things relating to this happening worldwide, but also this one as the main one because it happened in the UK.
Well, on a personal level, I set up a blog with my best friend and a few friends known as sickperfection.org, where we actually have articles about Islam, articles about general stuff, but nothing showing hatred towards one community or another. And the response has been very good. I mean, when the movie about the Prophet was released, we had flyers all around Tanzania that was distributed, and the response was very, very good. We still remember giving out a flyer in Seacliff where people actually came up and said, you know what, we never knew this is what the Prophet was. And even during Ashura, we gave flyers around Dar es Salaam, and we had people going to Sheikh Jalal and all those people and asking, oh, we've just read about Imam Hussein and he gave his life, what is he about? As an ambassador to Islam, I think our role, the most important role, is to show what the real image of Islam is. Every time you step out of your house door, you have to realize that everything that you do is being scrutinized, everything that you do is being looked at, and you show the true colors of Islam, you show the true meaning of Islam, and we will be all over the world. I remember when I was in London, and I was sitting on a chair in the train, and this old lady walked in, and nobody wanted to give them space, and I actually stood up.
Yes,
and when I gave them space,
like that,
so little things like those, and she actually smiled back and she said, your name? I said, Muhammad Jawad. Or she said, that's very good. Are you a Muslim? I said, yes. So you see, things like this, small things do make a difference.
I think people should sign also petitions regarding this issue, because petitions are very important things, especially if you go to this website called change.org and you can make a petition over there. Also pass it to the to the people also around.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of people ignore petitions or feel lazy enough, but they don't understand that if you actually do get a large number of people, 100,000, and there are 100,000 Muslims.
Definitely. I think right now the Virgin Train network, the same thing. They send the petition for their customers because the franchise was going away from Birmingham. So they send the petition, and people really, sign the petition themselves. So I think people can do it for the train station, but if you go and see for themselves, they lack in this manner. So I think petitions is one of the things we should go for it, and
because it makes a difference.
Yeah, it can make a difference.
So what do you recommend to students coming into UK for university in the future? How should they tackle the situation? Follow on this advice that we've discussed, and what do you recommend?
Well, for one, I don't think they should be scared of coming. Like this Islamophobic attack shouldn't scare them away. And there's always if they come, they should try and involve themselves more in the societies, and do what they can to help the situation.
That's a really interesting point you mentioned. If we look at the past decade, Islam, as students come into university in the UK, there wasn't a need to portray really, true image of Islam. But now, as there's more problems and there's more Islamophobia all around the world, Muslims kind of have a challenge now and a goal while at university to try achieve this, to try provide a solution to all the issues we are facing today.
Yeah, I guess this is our way of helping Imam Zaman and preparing for his reappearance.
I recommend students come to the UK to work hard, but also remember that they represent Muslims as a whole, so they should try their best to get involved in initiatives. Get involved in initiatives that educate people and try to spread the true message of Islam. So we have in Birmingham or in the UK, we have Ahl Bayt societies in almost all the unis. So I think we should try and
could definitely encourage participation in this.
Yeah.
Is there any other society organization they can perhaps join?
Well, at mosque we have the youth committees and stuff that they could join, but at unis particularly there is Ahlul Bayt societies, other Islamic societies they could join.
And finally, you're in Tanzania right now. You're spending your holidays here.
Yeah, I see.
Okay, how can you make a difference to this issue while in Tanzania? Because this issue doesn't exist in UK in general. It's all over the world. Obviously, a great extent does exist in the UK.
Yeah.
How can you make a difference from here? Do you have any suggestions for
I think this helps.
basically programs like this to
Yeah.
encourage?
And just I think making the whole community aware of what's going on everywhere in the world, so that they're prepared. Maybe hosting seminars and talking to everyone, and just showing them that how they can help. If they know more about Islam, and then if they're in this situation, they can how to react positively and not give a negative image.
That's very true, because personally, when I was in Dar es Salaam before going into university in London, I had no idea what I'd be getting myself into. I had no idea. I was completely unprepared for the kind of Islamic task I was to face.
Well, I believe participating in programs like this is one of the main things we can do to educate the public. Of course, this is on a large scale, but as an individual or as a community member, we could carry out a few small programs targeting a few non-Muslims or a few groups of people on a small scale, and just go and raise awareness and say that, look, this is what really Muslims are. But from my experience, I believe Dar has a good Muslim population, and most people know exactly what Muslims are.
But most people, I would say, aren't aware of what exactly happening out there because of lack of access to such information at times.
So I think we should make them aware, in the seminars that we carry out. But
perhaps in their own language as well,
yes,
because what is it, around 40 million people here, out of which 9 million only know English.
which is
So we have 30 million approximately to try to communicate, these messages to, and they also go in universities outside as well.
yeah. So I think it's important to make them
Definitely.
aware of what exactly happens out there.
Definitely.
Okay, so earlier I mentioned that Islamophobia is something that needs to be addressed. It's a global issue. I think we can educate young Muslims in Tanzania, so when they come to the UK or go abroad to study, they're prepared and they're ready to answer questions and face people in the West.
Okay. What would you suggest about starting a society similar to Ahlul Bayt that are independent running societies over here? Would you see that as a successful idea, or?
I do really see that being successful, but the whole main aim of Ahlul Bayt society is to spread the message of Islam to non-Muslims, whereas here in Tanzania, where there's loads of Muslims and all that, so we have to go out and try and
Equip the Muslims that we already have here.
we already have
better.
here.
That's all the questions we have for you. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
The show. That's
Thank
all.
you very much. Yes.
Come
My
on the
pleasure.
show.
Thank you very much.
That's all we have for you today. Thank you for watching IBN TV. Join us next time on The Hotspot, where we uncover another hot issue. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.